because guys like you look at you, the way you carry yourself, the way that's a fighter. Like, you look at that guy's a dangerous motherfucker. But when you see Paddy, he's dancing like this, his hair's flopping around like he's in the Beatles. You know, he's like, he seems silly, but then he fucks people up.
I didn't quit on me still like a...
No, see, this is part of the stuff I wanted to ask you about. What are your thoughts on Ilya right now?
He's a little bitch, lad. How can you sit there, call yourself a world champion, and quit on your still when the going gets tough? You know what I mean? You don't do that. Real fighters don't do that. I know I beat Ilya and Justin Gaethje beat me, so it was a no-brainer for me that Justin Gaethje beat him. And I don't think Ilya's ever going to come back the same.
Because while everyone came to UFC 329 expecting Conor McGregor to steal the headlines, it was Paddy who walked away looking like the biggest winner of the entire night. Long before the main event controversy had even settled, fans were already calling this the performance that changed everything for Paddy Pimblett. He didn't just win, he made a statement. Against one of the toughest opponents of his career, Paddy looked sharper, more composed and more dangerous than we've ever seen him, leaving many people wondering whether he's finally ready to challenge the very best in the lightweight division.
Conor passed the torch Saturday night. Didn't mean to. Wasn't his intentions. Wasn't the UFC intentions. It organically happened. Paddy's a massive star now. He's always been a star. Always been a star. The kid, I don't know how long I've said this. He's a close thing to Conor we have. And Saturday night with that performance, he stole the show. And I'll say this. If you miss the Conor train, now's the time to hitch your wagon to the Paddy train. Because if you should learn anything from the sport, from the UFC at the highest level, it doesn't last long. Enjoy it while you can. And right now, Paddy is on this rocket ship, and it's super positive. It's fun. He's not a bad guy. Has no allegations, none of that stuff. He's a good one to get behind. The torch was passed to him.
Fought Justin Gaethje, and he did well against Justin Gaethje. Well, now we know the man's for real, because look at what he just did to Benoît Saint Denis, a man that is also for real, and he made it look easy, and he does it with charisma, he does it with style, he does it with personality, humor, flair, put it all together. There's nothing not to like about this guy, and he's one of the most authentic people in all of the sport. Like, against Benoît Saint Denis, he didn't have a problem, and he wasn't talking shit because he didn't have any beef with him. But if Benoît Saint Denis said something to him that he perceived to be talking shit, he would have called him out on it, and he would have went at him, because that's how we are as fighters. But he didn't feel like that. So he didn't fabricate some nonsense just for the sake of it. And again, I think that's why people really relate to Benoît Saint Denis and to fighters when they're being authentic, when they're being corny and cheesy and trying to put on an act. It just doesn't work.
Joe Rogan was one of the first people to praise the performance, pointing out how much Paddy has continued to improve every single time he steps inside the octagon. The confidence was there from the opening seconds, but more importantly, so was the patience. Rather than rushing into reckless exchanges, Paddy fought with maturity, picking his moments, controlling the pace, and showing a level of composure that many critics had questioned in previous fights. Perhaps that's what impressed so many people. For years, there have always been two opinions surrounding Paddy Pimblett. One group believed he was destined to become a genuine world title contender, while the other argued the UFC had protected him with favourable matchups. UFC 329 may have completely changed that conversation. This wasn't simply another victory. It felt like Paddy announcing himself as a legitimate threat to everyone ranked above him. Joe Rogan wasn't the only person taking notice either. Across the MMA world, fighters began reacting almost immediately.
Absurd.
I mean,
you gave the guy who's a choke artist what he wants in the first 20 seconds of the fight? What? Now that was a nasty performance for Paddy. I mean, he got a layup. I say to the guys while we're watching the fights, I go, why can't I ever get a guy who's just reckless enough to do that for me and give me what I want and make me look like a superhero? You know what I mean?
That didn't even really get to fight on Saturday night. We know the name. The man is blessed. He is called Max Holloway. Okay? Max Holloway versus Paddy Pimblett. Tell me you wouldn't want to see that fight. That fight makes all the sense in the world. The former BMF, the former 145-pound champion, one of the greatest to ever do it, and a massive star in his own right as well. By the way, a man that handled himself with absolute class on Saturday night. He could have talked a lot of shit to Conor McGregor, but he didn't. And you could see that when McGregor went down, he didn't even really want to punch him in the face too much, because he's like, hold on, he's hurt, he's injured. Ref, there's something wrong with his leg, right? That is a great guy right there in front of you. That would be an awesome fight. And then, of course, there's one person out there that is the baddest motherfucker in all of the sport. He is called Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira is the BMF champion. Paddy the Baddy versus Charles Du Bronx Oliveira for the BMF belt next. Does that make sense? Of course it does. Do you think that Paddy Pimblett's going to be scared, intimidated, or terrified of the submission threat from Charles Oliveira? Well, he should be. He should take it seriously because the man has the most submissions in UFC history, the most bonuses, the most finishes, the most a lot of things, okay? And just because you got good jiu-jitsu doesn't mean that you can stave that off and defend every single attack.
Tom Aspinall praised the performance and highlighted how much confidence Paddy continues to fight with. Dana White also recognised just how important this victory could become for Paddy's career, knowing that wins like this are exactly how future stars establish themselves inside the UFC. Even fighters who have previously questioned Paddy's level admitted he looked like a completely different competitor. The striking appeared cleaner, the defence looked tighter, and his overall fight IQ seemed to have taken another huge step forward. For many fans, this was the first time they genuinely started believing Paddy could eventually fight for UFC gold.
Take me to the gym, please. It's because somebody like Paddy inspired him. There was nothing short of that. His walkout, he looked like he was having fun. He gets in the ring. He called this move, by the way. And when you lock that in dry, Paddy the Baddy used to be like a regional fighter that said some funny things with a weird hairdo. That's not who he is. This is one of the best fighters in the world. The only reason he was a co-main event tonight is because McGregor made the walk. Paddy the Baddy is a bona fide star.
Back then I fought Jared Gordon. I was still an immature kid. I might have been 26, but I was still an immature child, where now I've got kids of my own and I've got a lot smarter head on my shoulders.
For me, I think Paddy Pimblett is a future champion. I truly mean that. He's very good everywhere. He's good at creating the chaos. And I think for him, once he gets into chaos, he's able to find submissions. And each submission that he really, gets is very, very, good basics, good fundamentals, meaning that BSD comes across the board, they start exchanging, he shoots a takedown, he gives up his neck, he takes the neck, and he stays with a choke. He attacks the guillotine, BSD rolls. When he rolls, he attacks the shoulder. When he attacked it and he rolled through, he locks up a beautiful Darce choke.
What's even more exciting is what comes next. The lightweight division has never been more competitive, with names like Justin Gaethje, Arman Tsarukyan, Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev all sitting near the top of the division. Nobody is suggesting Paddy walks straight into a title fight, but after UFC 329, it's becoming increasingly difficult to ignore him whenever conversations about the lightweight rankings begin. Joe Rogan even discussed how performances like this completely change public perception. One spectacular win can suddenly erase years of criticism, replacing doubt with genuine excitement. That's exactly where Paddy finds himself today. Of course, bigger fights also bring bigger expectations. Every future opponent will now prepare differently. Every performance will be analysed more closely. Every mistake will be magnified. That's simply what happens when you become one of the UFC's fastest rising stars.
A sick performance. Submitted Benoît Saint Denis in the first exchange. Insane Darce choke. Spider monkey wrapped all around his body. Put Benoît Saint Denis to sleep. The energy that Paddy brought, honestly, is something that makes the UFC insanely happy, makes the fans, they love that kid, guys. People are going crazy in here as Paddy Pimblett walked out and as Paddy Pimblett left the octagon. He's a stud. And he deserves a big fight.
I know people are sick of me saying that Joe Silva tried to sign him when he was 21 and he could have come to the UFC at 23, but he wanted to come as the proper athlete. But relative to who I know him to be, the martial artist, the hard worker, the public perception has been way off, right? People love the persona, rightfully so. He's a master orator without any notes, but people lean into him eating donuts after the fight and they don't realize what a problem he is.
But if UFC 329 proved anything, it's that Paddy Pimblett appears more than ready for that pressure. Instead of shrinking under the brightest lights, he embraced them. Instead of simply winning, he stole the show. And while everyone will continue debating Conor McGregor's future over the coming weeks, Paddy Pimblett quietly achieved something just as important. He made sure the entire MMA world is talking about his future too.